Hello everybody and welcome to the Veil and the Thread Tarot. Today we are doing the big read for the month of May. We're going to see what energy is lying beneath. This is going to be a little bit of a longer read to the ordinary weekly reads, so we can hopefully go a little bit more in depth with what's going on. Just a quick note on May. It is very interesting. I'm not really going to get into the astrology of the month because that's not my expertise. That's not my area of focus. But May is an interesting month. There's 2 full moons, and so you may have heard of the blue moon, which is a term that they use when there's like a rare second moon within the month. And so we have the full moon on the 1st of the month, on the 1st of May, and we also have another one on the very last day, the 31st of May. Now, the couple of things that I wanted to say about this was, first of all, full moons always have an immense amount of energy with them. As human beings, we are very, very affected by the moon. Water signs as well. As a Cancerian, I'm particularly affected by the moon and the energy of the moon. And so there's a lot of big energy this month. It's a fantastic opportunity for the first moon to kind of bring to the surface a lot of the undercurrents in energy and what's going on. And with the second full moon, it's an opportunity to kind of let that go and to let it go free. So it's a fantastic month for journaling, for shadow work, for trying to finally work through and clear any energetics or frequencies that you've been wanting to work through. Also, it is the 13th full moon. And what's special about the number 13? It's the number of the divine feminine, and that is really becoming a lot more talked about. There's a lot more awareness now with the divine feminine and the need for the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine together. So yeah, that's just a couple of interesting things to take into consideration. I have already connected with my guides and I've already shuffled the cards. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot today, which is a beautiful deck. And we'll be doing a diamond formation today so that we can delve a little bit deeper into the energy. So yeah, I'll shuffle just a couple of times, but the cards have had a full shuffle already. I hope you're all doing amazing and ready for the month ahead. May 2026 is flying by. Okay, first card. Okay. Now bear with me, I'm going to have to try and do this in a way so that I can fit all of the cards on, but still be able to have a bit of space to read them. Put one right in the middle there. Okay. So we have the 7 of Pentacles in position 1. The Star. I love the star energy when that comes up. Knight of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, the 5 of Pentacles. We have so much Pentacle energy in this reading. Another Pentacles. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pentacles so far. And another Sword. Okay, so we have a Major Arcana card. We have a whole load of pentacle, earth energy, and we have 2 swords, which is air. So immediately, really, I'm noticing within the normal minor arcana, we have a real lack of water energy and fire energy. Water energy is the more emotional energy. Fire energy is that energy of get up and go and action and getting things done. So we have a lot of earth energy, so much earth energy, which is, resources, earth, the tangible kind of things, resources to hold on to. And the sword energy is that air energy, logical thinking, critical thinking, can be a little bit too much in the head if there's too much air energy, but right now there's an abundance of earth energy. So let's move through these cards one by one and see what information we can get. Okay, so the 7 of Pentacles, this has actually come up a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Now, in this position, card 1, this is the collective unconscious. It's kind of the vibe of what's going on right now, what's hidden, the hidden mood or anxiety that we're feeling. And this is absolutely crazy because it completely fits in to the reads that we did last week of this 7 of Pentacles energy being, your people are working hard to cultivate something. 7 of Pentacles can feel a little bit frustrating. It can feel like I've been working so hard, I've been grafting away, but I'm still not at the 9 or the 10. So it is a point where people stop and reflect on what they've been doing, maybe shuffle things around, have a little bit of a recalibration of what they need to do next to continue moving forward to the 9 and the 10. But specifically for the readings we've been doing the last week, this 7 of Pentacles energy has been about the people moving away from looking to external forces, looking to external institutions or governments to help them to get to where they want to in life, and actually realizing that they need to pull away from that and be their own authority, be the master of their own destiny. And so this 7 of Pentacles is saying, okay, it might feel like hard work, it might feel sometimes like you're getting nowhere, but you are. The 7 is a really good place to be. You've got over the challenges of the 5 and the 6, and you're onto new pastures. You're onto creating something that is hard, but anything worth having is, it's worth working for. Very, very interesting. Okay. Card 2, the physical earth. Now, this is the state of the environment and our physical resources, and the star is connected very much to the Taurus energy, which is interesting that we've got, because the Taurus energy is an earth energy which links to Pentacles. So again, it's like there's even more earth energy. Now, some of you may be thinking, hang on a second, the physical earth, resources, how do we get the star when the star card is such a positive card, when there's so much turmoil, so much, the pollution, the misuse of the earth's resources, etc., etc. I can completely understand why you might be thinking that right now. This energy to me is saying, it's recognizing the process that Gaia is going through right now, that the earth is going through. So I'm sure that the majority of you are aware that while we are going on our spiritual journey, the earth is also going on her own journey and her own evolution. And we're getting to the point where the earth's vibration and frequency has slowly been increasing, preparing to kind of move along with the souls on this planet that are ready for the next step. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the 3D, 5D thing. you know, if you want to know more about that, you can always drop me a message and I'll point you in the right direction, because there's so many resources and channels on YouTube that are talking about this change and this journey to the new earth. And for me, this card encompasses that energy. We may be told, or rather we may have constantly thrown in our face all of the bad stuff that's happening on the planet, all of the terrible low energy, low frequency things that are going on. While a lot of that is true, it is constantly fed to us for a reason. It's constantly fed to us to keep us in those lower bands of energy, those lower bands of emotion. So please take comfort in knowing that the earth knows what she's doing. You know, she's an extremely old spirit and she has an evolution process to go on too. And she is going on that journey. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, card 3. This is what structure is in place right now that is dissolving. You know, what old global system, whether it's something to do with governments or the financial state of the planet or social norms, what is currently breaking down and losing power. And it's really interesting that this is the Knight of Pentacles. So while the Knight of Pentacles is it's a very positive card, the Knights are always quite you know, they've moved on from the apprentice energy of the Page to be more certain of themselves, that, you know, more structured, more firm and certain in who they are. But the Knight of Pentacles in this spread for me is saying this is connected to the financial institutions. This is connected to the financial structure that we've been a part of for you know, for however long. And I feel as though there's going to be big changes within this financial structure, or at least within the people that are currently at the top of that structure. Now, it is a knight, so it's not the people that are at the very top of this structure, but they will be some kind of figures of authority within the financial system. I think that we're going to be seeing changes going ahead. And whilst everything might not happen in May, I think that there will be more communication or things on the news or things online that you see that are about this changing financial structure. And I do know that this is kind of happening already. There's been things in the public, but also under the veil for a long time about the changing of our current financial structure and system. So watch this space. Okay. Now, this is an interesting one because card 4 is about new ideas or new shifts that are gaining traction. And this one's actually really confusing for me because we've got the 7 of Swords. And the 7 of Swords is a deceptive, it can be a deceptive energy, going about things and possibly not doing it in the right way. I'm going to ask for further clarification on that, and I'm going to see if that makes a little bit more sense as we move through the other cards, because this 7 of Swords is not necessarily pointing to a new idea immediately for me. And I'm wondering whether there's going to be some deception or underhanded practices that maybe have some light shone on them. So I'm going to swing back to that in a little while. Okay. Now, the card 5 is the challenge of the month. And this is actually another quite interesting card to be in the position of the challenge. It's the Nine of Pentacles, which is actually a really positive card. It's kind of, you've made it. You know what I mean? It's like the things that you've been working for in life, the things that the lifestyle that you've worked hard to create for yourself is the Nine of Pentacles energy. You know, that she's made it. She's surrounded by beautiful things. She's surrounded by the things that make her happy. And with this being in the challenge position, this for me is very, very linked to this Seven of Pentacles energy, where we've been talking about who do you give your authority to, which obviously was the theme of last week. Who do you give your authority to? And if this is where we want to be eventually, the Nine of Pentacles, then we have to start looking at how have we tried to go about that in the past? Is it still working for us? Because right now, the life that you're wanting to build for yourself is potentially going to be a challenge if you continue to operate the same way that you have done for the last however long. Yeah, so I believe that the Nine of Pentacles energy is available for anybody that has come to the planet with the intention of having a fantastic experience and a wonderful human experience. We just need to maybe recalibrate on what we're doing and the things that we're doing to get there. Okay. Card 6. This is communication. I don't mean that the Queen of Pentacles is communication. In position 6, we're looking at communication. How is the truth being shared? Is there clarity? Is there confusion? Is there gaslighting? Are we getting stories across the media that maybe don't are not complete truth, or they don't resonate with our truth? Queen of Pentacles again is a very it's a very positive energy. Now, with the Queen of Pentacles, I feel as though we may see the introduction of a character, or maybe not the introduction, perhaps they're already in the public eye. But I feel as though in May there's going to be somebody that's in a position of authority in regards to earth energy. So immediately my mind is jumping to financial institutions or a position where they make decisions that have a lot of financial implications. So I don't like to go out on a limb and say anything too specific, but the woman that is jumping to mind with me immediately, and I can't remember her name for the life of me, but it's the woman that's in charge of the European Central Bank, the ECB. Now, this Queen of Pentacles might not even necessarily be a female, but that's the energy that is immediately jumping to mind for me right now, the leader of the ECB. So I'm wondering whether there's going to be communication from her or from somebody in a similar position regarding this communication of changes within the financial system. Okay, so card 7. Now, this card I've included as being part of the energy of the blue moon, so the second full moon of the month. This is kind of the revelation, what will be brought to light by the end of the month, by the second full moon of the month. And we have the Five of Pentacles. Now, again, it's Pentacles, it's earth energy. I'm absolutely flabbergasted by the amount of earth energy in this read. Everything about May seems to be revolved around these tangible and earthly resources. But the 5 of Pentacles is a 5. It's the number of challenge. And it's kind of that energy of feeling like you've been left out in the cold, feeling like you've been pushed out into the cold. And again, this just fits with me so strongly with this 7 of Pentacles, because it's like, okay, you might feel like you've been pushed out into the cold or feel like you don't have anywhere to turn. Perhaps this is how a lot of people have felt. They've been trapped by structures of authority or governments. They feel out on a limb with nowhere to turn. But actually with the 5 of Pentacles, you see this particularly in the Rider-Waite, there's a church, and I don't mean that there's any religious connection to this. The church basically is symbolic for there is a place where you can go and you can have your R&R, you can rest, you can rejuvenate, you can get back on your feet, you can be enriched and fulfilled again. And when I say back on your feet, by no means am I saying that this card is predicting any kind of event where people are thrown out on the streets at all. That is not what I'm saying at all. And I don't think that that's going to be the case in May. But I think what it is saying is, okay, you may go through a period where you feel out on a limb and you don't know where to turn, because you're going through this process of realizing, actually, I can't rely on those institutions that I've looked to before. So what do I need to do? I need to start looking to myself for that authority. I need to start looking at myself and looking at my close-knit community, friends and family as the support system in moving forward in life. Yeah, so while the 5 of Pentacles can initially be seen as a little bit of, what's coming up, there's always lessons to be learned. There's always a challenge with the 5, but ultimately, we can overcome that. Okay. The spiritual lesson. What are we meant to learn this month? And it's the 4 of Pentacles. Surprise, surprise, more earth energy. And again, it kind of ties in with everything. The 4 of Pentacles, the 4 is the number of stability and security. So the 4 of Pentacles, when looked at in its completely positive light aspect, it's financial stability and financial security. However, the 4 of Pentacles can very much have the energy of stagnation, hoarding, holding on too tightly to the purse strings. Yeah, so I think when you have potentially been through this energy of the 5 of Pentacles, there's this natural desire to hold on to what you do have and not let it go. But actually, the lesson in this 4 of Pentacles is to let it go. Let go of the old way of viewing things. Let go of the systems or the things that you've done in the past to try and get yourself to a point in life where you're happy and satisfied. Because for the majority of us, that's not working anymore. So, move past that 5 of energy, that 5 of Pentacles energy. Recognize if you are holding on too tightly to old structures and old ways of being, so that you can finally go full circle and make your way to a point that it's not plain sailing, it's not all roses and, you know, butterflies and unicorns. It is going to be different to what we're used to, and it is going to be a little bit of graft, but we're tending to our own garden now. Yeah. Okay, and then the last card in this spread is the way forward, the trajectory heading into June. Now, this is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a card of duality. It's a card of crossroads and not knowing where to go. But it's also a card of self-limitation. So, you know, similar to the prison of the Eight of Swords, where you're in a prison of your own making, it's like with the Two of Swords, it's this over-analysis, overthinking. You know, the Swords is very much air energy, which is linked to communication or thoughts, that internal dialogue that we have. And of course, when you look at everything that's happened within this spread, of course, we're going to be at a point where we're questioning which road we need to go down. You know, what is best? Do we stick with the old ways? Do we move to something that new that we don't know? You know, better the devil you know, or something fresh. And so I think moving into June, there is going to be confusion about what path to take. But I don't believe for 1 minute that confusion is going to be permanent or long lasting. It's just another veil of illusion, self-imposed illusion that we kind of have to work through and clear so that we can get to, you know, so that we can join the planet in this star energy that she's achieving. Okay, so what did I want to clarify? I would like to clarify the Seven of Swords for a start, because this was like the new idea, or, you know, new technology that might be coming about. So I'm actually going to use one of my homemade cards for this. This is what I generally use in my weekly reads, but I'm wondering if there's going to be a particular event or particular disruption in some way. So please, can we get some clarity on this situation? What is this Seven of Swords about in this read? Okay, so the card actually says tsunami or storm surge. Now, these cards are based on the energetics rather than something physical, like a physical prediction or anything like that. So I'm not saying that there's going to be a tsunami or a major storm. You know, this could be an energetic tsunami. So, for example, if there was some kind of huge media event where, you know, they wanted to flood the population with a story on something or a theory, that could be a tsunami of communication. Let me see how this fits in. Okay, thank you. The information that is coming through is that this Seven of Swords is potentially linked to what we were talking about with changes in the financial system. Now, this card being the new idea or the new shift, I think maybe representing these financial changes. And I'm wondering whether there's some, well, I'm sure there is communication behind the scenes on how this is happening. Maybe things that are a little bit underhanded. I think whenever we look at anything like a financial structure or, an official structure, I think there's always the potential. Well, I'm being kind in what I'm saying, and I'm trying to go down the middle and play devil's advocate by saying I think there's always the potential for underhanded business with these things, and I'm wondering whether there's going to be some kind of underhanded way that this goes about, and that might all come at us at once. It might be such a tsunami of information. Perhaps this tsunami is about something happening that causes quick changes to a financial system. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying a financial crash. Again, this is not about predicting. I'm not trying to predict any world events. I'm talking about the energy. But I'm wondering whether it's something like a little bit of a, the energy of a financial crash or something like that, which has come about from maybe underhanded means, and by that I mean it's most likely being planned, which I think a lot of us are probably in agreement with. But it feels like it's maybe something that's been planned a little bit underhandedly, a little bit sneakily. And I'm not saying that the outcome of that is necessarily to be deceptive, but perhaps the way that this new financial system or whatever it is comes about has been brought about with underhanded means, but perhaps it's something that actually is beneficial in the long run. And this tsunami energy, I feel, is like a lot of it will happen. It'll happen quickly, or there'll be a whole influx of information all coming out at once. That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling there. The way forward, this Two of Swords, I do also want to have some clarification on. So I'm going to get a tarot card to ask for further clarification on this Two of Swords, which is the way forward into June. Can we have some clarification or guidance on that for the collective for this Two of Swords heading into June? Oh, my goodness. My goodness, another sword, and it's the Five of Swords, which is another challenge. I think what the energy of whatever is coming up, I have to say, I think is going to be extremely difficult for a lot of people. And I don't mean that it's going to be difficult in that people are going to lose things and, they're going to be hitting rock bottom and starting from afresh. That's not what I'm picking up. What I'm picking up is that there are going to be changes to things within financial layouts or the way that we live our life, that the changes to the tangible resources that we deal with every day. And that's always difficult. Change is always difficult. But the biggest difficulties that are showing up in this, rather than it being people losing tangible things, it's actually the mental difficulties that I think people are going to struggle with more so. And whilst that's not a fantastic situation to be in, because mental anguish is anguish, it's difficult to deal with. I think that these are here as challenges for people to overcome, and they can be overcome. So it's all about our perception. It's all about how we look at things. As human beings, we tend to get comfortable in the routine, even if it's a routine that we're not 100% happy with. We're quite often of that mindset of, well, you know, it's not great, but it's kind of been working. And if we bring something new in, it could be a lot worse, and we could be a lot worse off, etc., etc. And so I think the main challenges that people are going to be dealing with in May going into June, the mental difficulties of maybe looking at how we change what we've been doing. And, you know, that might not even be on a massively global level, as in, this might not be something that happens to the masses. It might not be a financial crash. This could just be a little bit of pockets of communities of people that are waking up to a different lifestyle, or things are happening, perhaps things happen on a more local level, which is the trigger for people to start looking at how they live their life and how they change what they've been doing the last few years. I want to take an oracle card to see if we can get some clarification and guidance on this read as a whole. You know, what is the higher overall message and learning within this energy of May? Wow. Anger. It's number 28, which is funny because that's actually my favorite number. 28 reduces down to 10, which obviously then reduces down to 1. And 1 and 10 are actually very, very interesting numbers, because the 1 is the beginning, it's the start, it's the generation of, you know, like the aces, for example, sparks of ideas. The 10 is the completion. You know, the ultimate aim, what you want your ultimate goal to be. But the 10 reduces down to the 1, so it's like a full circle. So as we were saying in this read, we're going from the 7 of Pentacles. It's almost like we're making a journey through these difficulties, these mental struggles, to ultimately get to the point where, you know, we've come full circle and we're standing in our own authority again. Where this card fits in, the anger, I think it's twofold. I think it's coming from a place of anger for the collective. I think there's been an undercurrent of anger for a long, long time. But likewise, I think these changes are being spawned from this sense of anger. Anger is not, you know, it's not necessarily a good emotion. It's definitely not a good emotion to hold on to for any length of time. But there's light and dark in everything, right? And the light in anger is that it can be the catalyst for change. It can be the catalyst to something bigger, to say, I'm not happy with this anymore. I'm sick of this. I need to change things. Yeah. And I think that's the guidance that we're getting from this card and from the read today. This, you know, the energy within this read is so strong. It's heavy. Like, it really is heavy. You know, don't get me wrong, we don't have any of the connective flow of the water. We don't have we don't yet have the energy of fire to to say, yeah, this is the spark of what's going to happen. We're now cooking on gas and all of these changes are going to go ahead. So it'll be interesting to see if we see that fire energy in June. Right now, May feels like there's a lot of thick energy. There's a lot of challenge. We have 2 5s. We have a lot of thick earth energy. But it's all part of the process, guys. It really is. It's all part of moving from where we are now to something that is so much better that we can't even fathom how fantastic things can be potentially further down the line. So we have to work through challenges. We have to work through energy to get to that sweet nectar at the end of the path sometimes. Wow. I wasn't sure whether to take any dice, but I do want to take a dice and a modifier card just to see if it gives us any more information as to what's going on here. Feels all a little bit discombobulating in a little way, yeah? And I think that might be how people are going to feel in the month of May. The dice that I got was fish, and while the fish can have a lot of different symbolic meanings, there's kind of two pathways that have been shown. Not pathways, because it's not like a choice of one or the other. The fish is bringing up 2 very important things. One is the basics of life. As we've said before, what do you need in life to feel stable and secure? You need a roof over your head, you need food to live off of. And this fish is symbolizing, look at what it is that you need in life. Pull it right back to the basics and look at what do you need in your life to feel stable, to feel secure, but then also from that to flourish and feel happy. Yeah. Strip everything back and look at, take everything back to basics and look at where you are now, where you want to be. How can you get rid of all of the additional rubbish that you don't need and pull it back to basics? The second meaning that I'm getting from this fish is to take care of yourself, to sustain yourself. I think this is a month of reflection. As I said, there's a lack of movement in the water energy, and there's definitely a lack of spark of fire energy. So this month is not necessarily calling for you to be active, to do anything, to go out there and change up your life. That's not what this energy is about. This energy is about reflection and sitting in the energy, using the energy of the full moons to go through this purging process, go through this journaling, look at everything that hasn't been working for you, whether that is personally or, in your working life, in your friendships, in your family. Look at everything that has been a point of contention for you so far and journal it. Do that shadow work this month while you've got this grounding energy. Work on that in preparation for what I feel is going to be a much more fiery June. Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to pick one more card, which is a modifier, just to see if it does add any further dimension to this, because it feels like there's not really much to talk about in regards to, it looks like this is going to happen or this is going to happen. It's all very reflective and all very Yeah, it's very interesting to me as a reader. This card does not want to go back in the deck, so I will pull it out. Delayed and postponed. Yeah. And it's funny that that card's come out actually, because looking at the cards, there is that feeling of kind of not stagnation, because it's needed reflection, it's needed stillness. So it's definitely not stagnation, but it's that feeling of everything's just kind of bubbling, nothing's moving quite yet. It's building, it's boiling away. It's giving people that time and that opportunity to do that self-work before we move into the next month. So yeah, it's a very interesting read. And I think that this is going to be a preparation month for a lot of things that are coming up ahead, and probably coming up, if things are being delayed this month, I think that just means that things are going to move that whole lot quicker as we move forward. So yeah, so take the time, get out of your head, get out of that prison in your mind. Start to get things down on paper. I find when I have things running around my head, as soon as I get them down on paper, it's almost as though I've shared them with a best friend or something like that. It's like you do put it down on paper, and it's almost like that problem, you take so much of the weight out of it straight away by writing it down on paper. So try and get out of your head. Remember that the planet is on a fantastic trajectory. She's working towards what she knows that she needs to work towards. So try and join her in that energy. Try and have the faith that everything is going to work out as it should. Potentially look out for some communication from, the Queen of Pentacles. Doesn't have to be a female, but I feel instinctively that it's a female within the financial industry that we're going to hear communication from. And just take care of yourself. Rest. Take all of this on. Take what resonates. Discard the rest. This is not going to match for what everybody's feeling right now. But know that we've got some fantastic things ahead. We need to do the work first, right? Like I said, anything worth having is worth working for. And that is definitely the trajectory that we're on. So I will leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. Don't forget that we have our weekly read every Sunday, our insight every Wednesday, and our emotion code release every Friday. So if you haven't done already, please do subscribe and like this video. It does help. And check the notification bell if you want to be notified every time a new video comes up. But other than that, I will leave it there. I hope that your May is as smooth as it can be. Journal, get ready for the challenges, know that you have the strength to work through it. We're here as a community. Leave a comment saying whether you've been noticing any of this energy already. And take the opportunity on the 1st, which is today, if you're watching on the 1st of May, and the 31st of May, really tap into that lunar energy and start to do some shadow work and journaling and reflection. Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.